Well, I will see your setting and I'll raise you purling because
Per
who doesn't love Perl?
I love Perl. It was my first language. Aside from Bash, I guess.
Right. Another
Perl.
thing that I use a lot is Perl inline edits. So Perl dash PI, which is an in place edit, and dash E is the edit that I want to perform. And so just like we do with sed, we use our substitution. And let's do com dot with org dot. What's really cool with Perl is you can actually do multiple edits on the same line. So we could also do 10.0 dot with 192.168 dot.
And I forget the syntax, but you can also tell Perl to make a backup of the file as it's changing it. Did you typo it? Didn't you put this in notes?
Well,
Oh.
with
See if you can't
one,
do two at once.
and I'll have to look at the syntax for two, but you can do multiple in the same line, but I don't have it off the top of my head. I probably also need the G. All right.
Rick, Perl
And
doesn't get enough love these days because everybody switched to Python. Rick's in the chat
so
talking about Perl.
you can see all of the comms changed to orgs, except that one, because when I originally made my edit, I didn't use the trailing G to indicate that I
Oh yeah.
wanted to globally make the change. I changed the first one on the line and then was like, okay, next line, moving on. Let me re-execute that one with the correct syntax. There we go. And now everything looks the way I want. I use Perl this way because I know that I can use it in scripts. I use it a lot in automated installs, post installation instructions, and you can get more fancy in your purling than just search and replace with like we do with sed, right? Like how I'm using it now is really no different than sed, but you can get more fancy. And Perl also supports extended regular expressions. So if you need to get really exact on what you're replacing, it has the ability to do.
We had at the web host that I worked at, we had this tome that one of the previous admins had written. He called it the notorious one-liners. And they were all different Perl one-liners that he'd cooked up because Perl is great for one-liner commands like that. That's where I learned because he had one that we would modify. We had thousands of DNS records, DNS zones that we were managing because we were a web host. And if we had to change all of them for some reason, he had a one-liner that would touch all of them, but also make backups of all the files while it did it, which was pretty cool. Which is why I remember that you can do that, but I don't remember the syntax because I always just copied it.
Oh, Shantanu says servers without Perl are unhappy servers. That warms my heart because everybody always likes to make fun of me for using Perl.
I like Perl. Perl was a great language.
We just
It
released
is
a
a
new
great
version of it.
language. It's just not used so often anymore.